Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, let's jump on in. We're going to take a little peek at Ophiuchus, the look at kind of the tree of life, Celtic cross. The central topic is the lover's card. So this could be very much about love. It could be about choice. It could be about choosing love, choosing a particular partner. That could be the central focus for Ophiuchus right now. And it's a very sweet energy on that. Okay, what crosses this is the devil. So this could be one of those stories where Ophiuchus is, like looking at the difference, making the comparison between like, when we choose something and then can we choose it but still not let it become, like Gollum, like, oh, my precious, I choose this, but then it must be mine. I must hold on too tightly to it. There's always, I think relationships can certainly test us and can bring out the best in us, can bring out the worst in us, can bring out, the valiant hero in us, and can bring out the pettiness in us, and stir up old wounds and things. So I can understand how this would be two sides of the same coin. Like when it's good, it's beautiful, it's loving, it's wonderful, and then there's also times when it can bring out the worst. And it just feels like it's very relatable, very understandable. Hey guys, really great to see everybody. Um, this feels okay. What's underneath this all? We've got the sun and the Ace of Wands. Okay, so we have, the energy overall is great joy, great happiness. It's supportive, it's kind, it's soft, it's about happiness, it's about choosing the path that a character really wants, that makes their heart happy, that inspires them. I only see this as really good. I only see this as like perhaps Ophiuchus has reached that point where they're really good at selecting how to be in a relationship, and then how to be mindful of those pitfalls that can, undo a good thing. Because the real motive here is, let's make this one really happy. And we have like the twin energy here on that sun card, where it's like, you and me, if we've got the same vision, if we both want this to be joyful and we both want the same things, I want to pick you and I want to reassure you that I'm choosing you because, you're a good, healthy choice for me, and vice versa, then this could be a really lovely energy. I feel like two people are just very much on the same page. Let's do this thing and let's make it joyful. In the recent past, we had Two of Swords. So Ophiuchus may have withdrawn or held back a bit in the past. Um, this new, because this is very bold energy, right? The sun is happy, it's bold, it's expressive, it's, somebody who's really putting themselves out there and really, putting their heart on the line a little bit. In the past, it wasn't so much like that. Let's take a quick peek just to explain, or explore, I should say, the past just a little bit. Tell me about that Two of Swords in the past. Okay, so Ace of Swords sideways. It kind of looks like somebody wasn't too sure if they wanted to, speak a truth or not. Now, this could be Ophiuchus, but this could also be the person Ophiuchus was dealing with as well. Sometimes one person's nervousness makes another person's, nervous, and they feed off of each other, right? We do have this energy of like trying to keep calm, trying to keep peace, but not necessarily ready to move forward. So it could have just been that in the past, Ophiuchus was like a little bit less, I'll say, less certain that a relationship could be healthy and that we could, avoid the pitfalls. So Ophiuchus might have not dated anybody in a while, is what it kind of looks like, because they said, unless I'm feeling pretty confident that I'm ready to open up, that I'm ready to be, like secure and not afraid of those pitfalls that can come up, those fears that can get triggered, especially in a lover's connection, I'm gonna think on this for a little bit before I just jump into another romance. I would just say very simply, Ophiuchus was mindful that they didn't want to get into a romance until they felt healed, until they felt ready. That's what it looks like. All right, let's see what's the highest perspective on this. We've got the moon in the reverse. It's kind of time to reveal all. If Ophiuchus has great emotions towards somebody, they might now be ready to express it. The vibe that I'm getting off of this story is that this could have been a connection that has taken a long time to start to evolve into anything at all. This could have been that Ophiuchus and another person were both, well, primarily maybe Ophiuchus was not willing to admit that they were attracted to somebody, not willing to, you know, pursue a relationship until they felt secure. So they could have liked someone, knew that person liked them, but it was like, I'm going to keep them at arm's length for a bit because I want to make sure that I'm ready for this. I still feel like we have to go back to the past just a little bit because there was a lesson in all that. Yeah, Five of Swords. Definitely, Ophiuchus was like, I don't want anybody for a bit. I need some time to myself to sort a few things out. So Ophiuchus could have had a relationship at any point in time had they wanted it. This Ophiuchus is a freaking catch. The only reason that they have been single was they chose that for a period of time. And this is also Ophiuchus acknowledging it, knowing it, but now their higher self is like, yeah, now I can admit that I've been attracted to somebody and I knew they were attracted to me too. But I wasn't ready at that time. I can say it now though. Now there's no reason to hold back because I'm ready to say, yeah, I want this now. I can picture this being successful. Can I just see with that devil card that crossed the lovers there, that one like concern. Okay, so Mastery of Cups. I would definitely argue that maybe Ophiuchus was doing some healing so that they were kind of like getting to the point where their emotional state was going to be like, I'm ready to open up again. I'm ready to give my heart. I'm ready to feel. I feel like I've mastered my emotions. All of this just says I can give emotions without losing myself. Let's put it that way, because that's what the fear was, or that's what the toxicity was at one point. So if Ophiuchus found themselves being an overgiver in relationships before, I feel like they kind of clamped down for a hot minute and said, okay, I gotta think about this. I gotta refine my approach. And even though there's a hottie over there that I want, and I can tell they want me, I'm not going to start a connection until I feel like I've mastered some emotional context here, because I don't want to start something, especially with somebody that I like, and then maybe not be ready for it or slip into an old pattern. That, you know what I feel is that Ophiuchus might be aware that they are very empathic, and that's exactly why they were like, okay, to be an empath is awesome. But to be an empath also means I need to put up some guardrails around my own powers here. I think that's great. I think that Ophiuchus gave themselves exactly the space that they needed. They kind of like mastered what they needed to. And now that it's kind of full steam ahead. All right, I'm not worried I'm going to get lost in emotion. I'm not afraid that I'll be too empathic. I think I can rock and roll and get into a relationship. The upcoming future, it's funny though, because we still have the Page of Pentacles in the reverse. So hang on, because that says that we don't have like a step forward. We don't actually have a step forward into this right now. We have somebody who's just like still processing a little bit, or maybe pausing and allowing somebody else to move toward them if we want to. This feels like Ophiuchus is going to be taking their sweet time on this, but we do have that Tower as well. Thinking about it, doing it are two different things. If Ophiuchus wants to move towards somebody, they will, but not until it feels like exactly the right time. This energy of, okay, I've been thinking about this. It almost seems like I'm definitely ready. And then we say, but for the actual communication that opens up this dialogue, that's where Ophiuchus is not ready yet, from what I see here. Let me get another one here. I can't figure out whose ego is in the way. We have a Nine of Cups upright. See, nothing here had said that Ophiuchus was struggling with any ego. It could be that if Ophiuchus ignored somebody that was attracted to them and pushed this person away, maybe that person is now going to be like, I'm not going to react, even if Ophiuchus is obviously trying to catch my eye. We could have a little bit. See, Ophiuchus has done a ton of work on themselves. This could be why we see a funkiness in this. Maybe this individual is like going to be pushing Ophiuchus back. They could be an Aries. They could have some pride. They could be saying, great, I'm glad Ophiuchus is interested in me, but I'm not responding right away. Because this is about what comes next, right? What's in the immediate future. And it says, well, not equal communication, maybe some ego that needs to drop. And we have somebody who's like, hey, I'm just out here trying to make myself happy. It almost feels like that's the person that Ophiuchus now wants to connect to. But hang on, let me see. Are you about to push Ophiuchus away a little bit? The Fool, they might do something foolish. They might do something foolish and impulsive and just very swiftly do something that's a little bit Ace of Wands, though. If they try to play this cool or try to not respond, I don't know that that's going to last very long, because we see these two people standing there staring at each other on either side of that Ace of Wands. We know there's equal passion. We know there's a desire there. It's so weird, though, because it worries me just a smidge, because it feels like this person, this other half of this lover's connection. By the way, they could be a Gemini. We did also have Capricorn out here. We also had Pisces with the moon card. We have Leo with the sun. But when we're just talking about them, we get the Tower and we get the Fool. So a double dose of Aries energy. I feel like this person has really been interested in Ophiuchus for a long time. And Ophiuchus was either ignoring the connection, ignoring the attraction, didn't want to acknowledge this person. And I'm not saying that now they're like, well, Ophiuchus can like wait on me, or they can crawl to try to get my attention. I'm not saying it exactly like that, but there's a little tiny smidge of, I'm not responding right away if Ophiuchus does, show me that they're interested. Because remember, the higher self said, I've mastered my emotions, and I'm ready with that moon in the reverse. I'm ready to tell this person I'm really interested. I think you're really attractive. I've thought that for a while, but I was, kind of sorting through some emotions, getting myself ready for a relationship. It feels like Ophiuchus is the one willing to like open up, and the response is maybe crickets at first. Again, I don't think it's to be mean exactly, but there could be a little bit of ego bent out of shape, because it does seem foolish, but then they can't deny it. They're freaking attracted to Ophiuchus. I don't know. I don't think this person's going to be able to hold back for too long. We got the Seven of Cups. There's an energy of, you know what it was? They were confused. Does Ophiuchus really like me or not? This person's going to need more reassurance, Ophiuchus. And that kind of makes sense too, because if we put ourselves in their shoes, right? Imagine it's like, wow, I'm attracted to them. I can tell they're attracted to me, but they're keeping me at arm's length. They're avoiding me. Now, all of a sudden, they do a 180 and they come around and they are obviously showing me that they're attracted to me instead of pushing me away or hiding from me. Look, I don't really know how to react at first. I mean, am I still interested? Yeah, but are they going to mess with me? It kind of feels like this person could be confused by Ophiuchus's behavior. And that might just be something for Ophiuchus to be mindful of, that they, their reactions could have confused this person. What's the potential outcome here? Because nowhere here do we see that Ophiuchus is playing any games. Okay, so we got the Ace of Swords in the reverse. The confusion could last. This feels a little bit unpleasant, but it also doesn't feel like these two are like, whoa, forget it. We're not even going to try this now. It feels like we've got some confusing conversations on the horizon. Queen of Wands upright. To me, this feels like the person who was previously kind of pushed away from Ophiuchus is going to want a lot of extra fawning over them so that they feel super attractive and so that they know Ophiuchus really wants me. It does kind of seem like we've set something up There's a Judgment card. It could take them a little while. Ophiuchus and this person could take a little while to get on good footing where they can interact together um, fairly and squarely and properly. It could take them both a little bit of time before they get there, right? Um, with that Judgment card, though, they'll be able to do it. They'll get on the same page. It just feels like this person is still really confused. How come you didn't like me before? Now I want to know that you're really, really, really into me. I'm really attractive. I'm your favorite one, right? And I think that as Ophiuchus maybe is able to convey to them, by the way, this could be a same-sex couple. Doesn't have to be. We've seen both genders here, but there's a lot of feminine energy on this. Um, but it feels like when they'll either, I'm not saying that they have to forgive Ophiuchus for feeling confused by Ophiuchus's previous behavior, but they'll understand it better because that Judgment card says this can be a tempest in a teacup, but there's probably going to have to be some kind of an explanation, heart to heart kind of moment, because this has been, I mean, it's been a bit of a ride, right? We've had these cards in the past, Ophiuchus really pushing somebody away, really not wanting somebody, even though it's their prerogative to not be ready for that. It might not have come across very soft or very kind, and it could have hurt this other person's feelings. And yet Ophiuchus really liked them, and vice versa. It makes sense to me that Ophiuchus wasn't ready for a relationship and needed the time to not be getting into something, but it could have really hurt this person's feelings. And now it's kind of like Ophiuchus is going to have to, I'm not saying win them back, but clear up the confusion. And we have confusion coming up at least twice here. So I could see how that would be hurtful and confusing, and how somebody would want to be like, make me feel safe, make me feel like you really want me, show me like, and explain to you how come you didn't want me before. Like, I definitely feel like that's this person's attitude. Now, could this whole story be flipped? Could this have been what happened to Ophiuchus? Sure. In which case, they would be the ones who have to reassure Ophiuchus and explain what on earth happened, because this feels like, kind of hot and cold. But understanding it, like truly understanding that, okay, you weren't playing games with me. With that Judgment card, this says that there will be full, like, okay, I totally forgive that and I totally understand that. It's not a problem now. Again, it just takes handling this with care. I don't know what my baby wants, but he obviously wants me right now. You guys, lots of love. I have to disappear. Aries, come here, baby. What is it? Come on.